hadith that you give. I heard, let's say, for the monopoly, the Sheikh was saying monopoly in Islam is limited to the prohibition of monopoly was limited to the things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the hadith. So now, when we apply la darara wa la darar, I would perceive monopoly in general to be haram.
Absolutely, because not monopoly in general to be haram, but it has to be determined by experts. We have to understand that the world is different. And the world is different, meaning that we're not saying that our religion is not suitable, but we're saying that our religion has to be re-understood every time there are major changes in the world. That our rulings, you don't have to re-understand the aqidah. You don't have to re-understand the morals, manners of the religion. But all of the genre of fiqh has to be, accepted, particularly in mu'amalat, which is 2/3 of the fiqh. That genre of fiqh in mu'amalat and rulership and other types of issues that are of our deen, it needs to be re-understood. This is the so-called al-ijtihad al-tajdidi. Al-ijtihad al-tajdidi. It is the revivalist ijtihad, or it is the revival of the deen, the renewal of the deen through ijtihad. Because the renewal of the deen, some people think that the renewal of the deen is basically only to renew the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that died out. And on the other extreme, some people think that the renewal of the deen is basically to toss out all of the mazahib and everything and to bring in your own set of, values and rulings. But the correct understanding is that the scholars that are well-founded in the deen, they do need to re-examine the need for new ijtihad, new ijtihad. So for instance, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in kafarat al-zihar says that one should emancipate raqaba. The first kafara for zihar, expiation for zihar, when you say to your wife, or for anything that has the same thing, when you have intercourse with your wife in Ramadan or something, when it starts by emancipating a slave, then فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, what is the next one? فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ, fasting 3 months consecutively. 2 months. شهرين, yes. Two. I said 3. فصيام شهرين متتابعين, then fasting 2 months consecutive. So recently, one of the scholars said that it is the objective of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is facilitation. And we saw how the Prophet ﷺ, someone came to him and he kept on, saying that, I can't, and he kept on giving him concession after concession until he gave him dates and he said, go take it, feed it to your family. After he came and he was, shocked when he heard the expiation. Then at the end of the story, the Prophet ﷺ kept on telling him, giving him option 1, option 2, option 3. At the end of the day, he walked away with dates to give to his family. One of the contemporary scholars said that we have to really re-examine this. Allah did not mean to cause us hardship. فَتَحْرِيرُ رَقَبَةٍ, than freeing a slave. If there is no slave nowadays, don't jump right away into fasting 2 months. Estimate the value of the slave, which you could do by cross-referencing, because they estimated the values of slave in the past by cross-referencing to other things. Estimate the value of the slave and order this person to pay it, and then we could use it to ransom the captives, for instance, or for many other purposes that the Muslims will determine to be of great urgency, like freeing a slave, was something of great value and urgency. That is called Tajdeed Ijtihadi. That is re-examining the text within our context. And Islam does give us room to do this, and does allow us to do this. Has to be carried out by the scholars well-founded in knowledge, so that we stay in the middle between the extremes. The extreme of basically shunning our deen and bringing about a new deen that we are making up. So if you're socialist, you bring about your own, you put together your own values. If you're liberal, you put together your own values. If you're Western, you put together your own values and call it a deen. And if you're Eastern, you put together your own values and call it a deen. This is one extreme. And the other extreme is the people who limit it so much and prevent any progress, intellectual progress, in this Tajdeed Ijtihadi, or the Ijtihadi revival of the deen. We have been given the tools, and our deen has really shown us that we can do this. Nowadays, things are very complex, very complex. It is not expected of the scholars to know everything, and they should not really act like they do. Economics is a business that people specialize in. You spend your life in studying. You go to college, master's degree, PhD, and so on. So monopoly in this case is something that has to be re-examined, within this context. You have to have the experts, the khubara, next to the scholars, working hand in hand to basically readdress the issue of monopoly. If we do this, there will be, we will, the secularists in our countries will not dare to tell us, you guys are so out of touch, because that's what they say nowadays. Some of them are, they say that you're backward. Some of them are really not Muslim. Some of them are Muslim. But they think that we're quite out of touch. And sometimes we allow them to think that we're out of touch. So it is by looking out of touch and acting like we're out of touch, we give them a reason to think this way. And that is called Sadda an Sabilillah. That is turning people away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In order for us not to turn people away from the path of Allah, we should not look like we're out of touch. So that is the re-examination of these issues in light of our current circumstances. Just like Abu Yusuf, when he was in Baghdad, he said, Baghdad does not look like Medina. Not every building in Baghdad can be one floor. So it is getting condensed, and so let us allow people to have the masajid. You do the same thing.